You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
Hello and welcome back to round 6 of the third ETS weekly of this season. I am Sir Rhino, and here to help bring this next exciting round of Eternal action is LocoPojo. How you doing, Loco?
I'm doing good, and hopefully in all of the different voice channels at once for once. So we've got 3 Obliterate, just great Praxis mid-range deck here, looking at a lot of burn and push with some Praxis displacers and Obliterates to really sort of give the deck a little bit more reach than your standard Praxis deck. Up against a Feln control list, pretty stock list with 4 Champion of Cunning, 4 Black Sky Harbinger, and 3 Vara Fate Touched, sealing up that late game.
Yeah, Praxis is a deck that sprang onto the scene when Omens of the Past came out, and now it's to the point where there's so many different ways to build it. It's really interesting to see what people settle on. And as you said, this is more of an aggressive take where you've got the Predatory Carnosaur as the top end. But with the advent of World Bear Behemoth, we've seen some takes on Praxis where they actually have Mystic Ascendant on the top end to pair with World Bear Behemoth. And TheSkeeJay actually has some of those in the sideboard, along with like Crimson Fireball, so you can go in this weird, even more aggressive flying direction. So there's all sorts of options to go with. TheSkeeJay kind of taking the middle road with Devoted Thurges. But this match is underway. WhyNot on the other side is with Feln Control and going with maybe what's the established build right now. Although 3 Death Strike, 2 Feeding Time, that's a lot of expensive spot removal.
He's expecting the mid-range, perhaps, and certainly there has been a lot of mid-range in this tournament, or at least that's what we've been seeing a lot of. We are seeing access to the Dawnwalkers for TheSkeeJay early on, so getting a pretty good start against this Feln list. If he doesn't run into too many Stewards of the Past, he'll have a much better time.
Yeah, you know, the name of the game for Praxis is beat down, get the win in, you know, hopefully dodge the Stewards, because once Feln gets the spot where they're casting Varas, it's really hard for Praxis to get through. So Praxis is definitely the beatdown in this matchup. You got to be a little careful about all the witch storms and things that can come out. But other than that, it's get aggressive and hope these Dawnwalkers can go the distance. As you said, they're typically not amazing in this matchup, but you got to play what's in hand.
Yeah, they die to the extracts, they die to the Varus Papers, they die to the Lightning Storms, but the fact that they keep coming back and keep having to be answered can be really, really strong as long as you don't find a Steward too early. So TheSkeeJay has some potential plays here, and the Carnosaur is really going to help him out against some of WhyNot's 5-drops. I don't think either of these cards are the card he wants in his hand this early. It's pretty nice to get the Dawnwalkers developed, but the Carnosaurs are more of a late-game thing.
Ooh, so TheSkeeJay sees a Heart of the Vault on top of their deck. We may see the Monument come out here, but no, opts to go with the banner instead. I mean, TheSkeeJay will just play the Monument next turn to guarantee that he can play Heart of the Vaults and Carnosaurs, I think, on the follow-up turn. Although maybe he'll choose to just play it as a 5/5 and risk stranding those 6-drops in hand. Meanwhile, WhyNot's got a Champion of Cunning.
Champion of Cunning is a very, very solid card here, and probably going to encourage TheSkeeJay to actually play that Monument now, because Carnosaur is definitely the answer that he wants for that card. So if he can play down a Scorpion Wasp, knock the Champion out, that's pretty solid, but most of all, he just... Oh, wow, he's actually going for the Monument. Okay.
Yeah, so Reinhardt brings back Dawnwalker. Those don't particularly do much, especially in the face of a Harbinger that'll come down here. And now TheSkeeJay needs to draw undepleted power off the top. Instead, finds a Purify, which okay, you can silence the either target really. The Champion of Cunning is threatening to get Aegis, but it's not threatening to get the Shadow buff. So the problem is you don't know when these Carnosaurs are going to get out of your hand.
Yeah, he really needs to get to 6 power, so playing that Monument might have been pretty bad for him overall. It does give him an extra volley of threats, which is very good against Feln because you can just kind of run them out of answers. But in a deck where you're running 3 Varas, that's not always going to be the perfect case, so we'll see what ends up happening here.
Yep, so in comes the swing from WhyNot. The Harbinger is met with a Scorpion Wasp, and another Harbinger comes down here, and TheSkeeJay getting punished real hard for his greed with this Reinhardt. The draw for the turn is Dawnwalker, and all he can do is swing in with Reinhardt there, and I guess start chump blocking with Dawnwalker.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's choosing to stay aggressive. He does have the Dawnwalker to block the Champion of Cunning, but taking an extra 5 a turn is very meaningful, especially against Feln, where every point of damage kind of really matters for the Feln deck. It's hard for this deck to sort of get off the ground if it doesn't get its Varas out, and right now SkeeJay's just sort of like looking for the best answer.
Yeah, WhyNot looks like is going to go with the Withering Witch play here. That's a if you're SkeeJay, you're actually pretty happy to see Withering Witch get played in that fashion with what your hand is. But it also means you've got so little counter pressure. Again, Dawnwalker will jump in here, and SkeeJay's just really hoping to rip an undepleted power off the top of their deck. They finally see it. Time Sigil is the draw. I'm thinking we'll see a Carnosaur eat one of the big threats.
Yeah, there's a case for Heart of the Vault to kill the Witch, but that's not terribly great value, and the Dawnwalkers are doing enough value work on their own.
Yeah, and SkeeJay's just hoping and praying that WhyNot does not untap with a Vera, but that won't be the case here. He's got a couple of extracts in hand and finds a Wisdom the Elders return. Also finds a Vara. Okay.
All right, so first Vara up, but SkeeJay now pressuring with just a huge amount of damage. Carnosaur knocks out the Black Sky Harbinger, or it knocks out Vara on a later turn. Heart of the Vault pops some Aegises, knocks some blockers down. Not a lot to love there.
Yeah, WhyNot's at 28 health, which is a good amount, but not when you're facing down a board that already has 18 damage. Yeah, that's a lot. So they've got some interesting decisions to make here. Like, do they use an extract on a Dawnwalker simply to give them a little more life buffer and get a good scout in? But no, it looks like they're going to go with Wisdom. And I don't like this timing of Wisdom. You hadn't played a power yet on your turn. There's a chance it draws a depleted power. I think I would have liked to see Wisdom from WhyNot on their own turn, especially when you're playing stuff like Annihilate too.
Yeah, I like this attack from SkeeJay. Certainly representing that much damage is a very big deal. And even with the Vara coming down, he can Carnosaur that out of the way and then just start pressing in for as close to lethal as he can get it. Heart of the Vault's mostly not doing a lot here. It can pop Aegises. It can't do a great amount. The main thing here is that Black Sky Harbinger is stabilizing WhyNot pretty well.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about like using Carnosaur on Harbinger and that activating Var to get back Harbinger, because there's already a Harbinger in WhyNot's Void. But SkeeJay looks like he's just opting to not play anything here, saving both of these huge 6-drops to, I guess, bring back Dawnwalkers if they die again. I think I would have liked to see a little more pressure.
Yeah, I'm not sure I love not playing the Heart of the Vault there, since not only does it draw you more threats, but it's also just a lot more aggression, which he kind of desperately needs at this point.
Yeah, so now WhyNot just drew another Harbinger off the top and cleared out all these Dawnwalkers, and sure, you get to either... Now you've got to Carno one of these Harbingers, bring back all these Dawnwalkers, and now Vera's going to show up, and this is what we were talking about earlier, where once Vera comes out, it's really hard for Praxis to beat that, even with the value you're getting from these Carnosaurs and Heart of the Vault.
It's especially rough because Vera can now bring back Black Sky Harbinger, which was not an available option before, but every Black Sky Harbinger just wrecks these Dawnwalkers.
Or you can just go extract Vera's favor to the face and kill your opponent, and that's what we're going to see here.
There was old Feln reach strategy. Get him that big old pile of burn.
Yeah,
the Feln way.
Yeah, there was actually 2 Black Sky Harbingers in WhyNot's Void, but that part doesn't matter. Yeah, extract. Feln has reach nowadays. It's not something we're used to with old school Feln control, but since they've swapped from the Feln Bloodcaster build and gone more in on extracts, that can happen now. Only 2 copies of extract in WhyNot's list, but they were coming up clutch there.
Yeah, well, nothing like a surprise 7 damage out of a control deck. Just basically obliterate on a stick. Just good stuff. So yeah, SkeeJay goes down in that round, and he'll have to figure out if he's got some good ways to recover against Feln next game. He was certainly trying to play the long game as opposed to be the beatdown in that setup, and that I don't think that worked out very well for him this time around.
Yeah, as we said, once Feln gets the Vera down, like, you're not winning as Praxis. It's just so hard to overcome that kind of value engine, even if you have something like Purify Forest. So I think, yeah, SkeeJay played a little too conservatively that game. The thing was, he opened aggressively. He went with the Monument on 5 play rather than trying to unlock it and guarantee his 6 drops. And then once he stumbled, he kind of stuck to that, like, try and get value out of my cards game now, and it's not always where you want to be against a deck like Foam Control.
Pretty rough time, but overall, he might be able to push something out in the follow-up. He's got the Ruins, he's got the Talir's Intervention. Neither of those is looking amazing here. Crimson Firemaw gives him a lot more aggression, which is really nice, and Steward of Prophecy can knock those bars out of his hand perfectly quick.
Yeah, I like Firemaw here. It's sometimes Feln can actually struggle against flyers, especially big flyers. It dodges Extract. It flies over Steward of the Past. If Champion of the Cunning's on the ground, it can't be blocked by that. And it's bigger than Black Sky Harbinger. So I like that. And I like the Steward of the Prophecy that you mentioned, that it just can silence Varas that are in your opponent's hand. You don't have to worry about that inevitability, or snipe a Champion of Cunning or Withering Witch. So I really like the Steward of Prophecy in this matchup, and I definitely expect that to come in here.
Yeah, it's an often missed sideboard card, but it's one of the stronger 4 picks for sideboards. I think people tend to place a few too many Praxis Displacers in that slot, so they tend to not see Steward of Prophecy, but it's such a strong card against a wide variety of decks, including the Armory and Feln matchups.
Yeah, in the case of TheSkeeJay, he had 3 Devoted Thirst, 3 Praxis Displacer in the main deck. Those are the kind of cards I think would get directly swapped out for the Firemauls and Steward of the Prophecies that we were talking about before. Scorpion Wasp as well as a 3 of. I don't think you want to keep in that many against Feln. So this match is underway. WhyNot's got plenty of power, card draw, and a Steward of the Past, not a bad spot to be. Meanwhile, TheSkeeJay, again, is looking for power. Has a Dawnwalker, has some really strong 4 and 5 drops and 6 drops. It's just going to be a question of, can he cast them this game?
He's got 2 draws to find 1 power, so he's not in too bad of shape here. He gets to play Dawnwalker on curve, and then after that he gets to follow that up with Titan or Firemaw, assuming the Praxis banner doesn't end up depleted.
So this is an interesting spot for TheSkeeJay. You can go Waystone Dawnwalker and you have a banner, but if that Dawnwalker dies to anything, that banner's going to come into play depleted next turn. So you run the risk here of not being able to play Sandstorm Titan or Crimson Fireball on your next turn.
Yep, it's a tricky situation, but at the same time, your first Titan or Firemaw is generally the one that dies, so I'm not sure if he's in like a particular hurry, as long as he's establishing a threat a turn.
Yeah, and that greed pays off here. WhyNot wants to cast Wisdom of the Elders this turn, isn't interested in using Vera's Favor this turn, would rather try and set up killing this Dawnwalker the same turn that you can play Steward to make sure it's gone for good. So TheSkeeJay gets a Crimson Firemaw out, and that's a big, scary flyer. WhyNot can't block that with Steward of the Past like he could, a Sandstorm Titan. Might be forced to use the Death Strike that they drew for the turn.
Yeah, which leaves him vulnerable to the Dawnwalkers and finally on the beatdown plan. The Steward of the Past is just not a very good matchup against Crimson Firemaw, and WhyNot's not pulling the Annihilates, which are one of his stronger cards.
Yeah, so here we see, TheSkeeJay getting big payoff for going with that aggressive line with the Dawnwalker here. It's already gotten in for 8 damage now, and we'll get to follow up that Firemaw with another Firemaw, and these dragons out of the sideboard are making their presence felt.
Yeah, at this point, WhyNot might be forced to play down Steward of the Past, which isn't going to help him that much against the Dawnwalker. If TheSkeeJay wants to continue to attack here, he's going to lose the 5/4, but he'll kill a champion in response, and he's pretty happy with that result, I think.
Yeah, getting a clean 1-for-1 on Champion of Cunning that has an Aegis already is a good spot to be in, and now he gets to jam down a World Bearer Behemoth here and really bring the beats.
Yeah, I don't love not attacking with Dawnwalker there. He was able to get the 4 damage in, and if Champion had chosen to block, then that would have been probably pretty good for him.
Yeah, if they blocked Dawnwalker, you were going to bring it back anyway, so you're just getting a hit in with Firemaw, getting that cost reduction, and your Firemaw still alive. I agree. I think I would have liked to see an attack out of Dawnwalker. It's not like it exists to block anyways.
So 4 damage missed. We'll see if it matters. We've got WhyNot looking at either Black Sky Harbinger or Steward. Steward ends up coming down as a response to the World Bearer Behemoth. It's not going to answer the Dawnwalker. And TheSkeeJay can actually obliterate it, which is really good for him because it not only kills the Steward, but it pops that Aegis off of WhyNot's face, which was something he was really looking for at this point.
Yeah, WhyNot opted to hold on to the Vara's Favor there rather than use it on the Dawnwalker, and TheSkeeJay had the obliterate, and now this Dawnwalker's gotten in for so much damage. They saved the favor so that this play could happen on this turn, right? Witch into favor, kills that Behemoth down. but the damage might already just be done here. Now TheSkeeJay can get a Heart of the Vault out of hand to clear this Witch out, or
Or can just
Carnosaur,
attack for
or
3 and then deal 2 to the face.
yeah, the world is TheSkeeJay's oyster for this turn, and yeah, in goes the Dawnwalker. You may just leave the Witch in play, you know, so it can't come back off of Vara or something like that. We'll see what TheSkeeJay does here.
It seems like face damage is definitely TheSkeeJay's sort of just goal here. If he gets Heart of the Vault to the face, then another Heart of the Vault kills his opponent. His opponent is like forced to do things like play down that Black Sky Harbinger and force blocks. He's not going to be able to get to Vara or do anything crazy for a little bit. So TheSkeeJay can really put the pressure on.
Yeah. So there it is. Heart of the Vault does go face, gets a reduced cost Sandstorm Titan, not bad. And Annihilate's a decent pickup here for WhyNot. They have the option of going Vara and getting back a Champion of Cunning or a Steward of the Past and getting 2 bodies down. But with that Annihilate draw, yeah, we'll see the Harbinger now come out, and that means you're protected from a predatory Carnosaur.
Yep, he's in decent shape. He gets to throw down not Carnosaur, but maybe Dawnwalker into Sandstorm Titan here. He can try for Carnosaur, but I don't think that's going to serve him particularly well.
Yeah, like your opponent already has a chump blocker in place, so Carnosaur's not doing a ton of work here. So yeah, we see the Heart of the Vault slam in. Withering Witch goes to the Void, though. That is scary. But the follow-up of double Sandstorm Titan here means WhyNot's under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I like that play even better than the Dawnwalkers here. It doesn't set up quite as well for the long game, but we've already seen how devastating those Black Sky Harbingers can be if they're just getting more and more targets. So this actually gives TheSkeeJay a little bit more pressure, and that's going to be very helpful for him in the long run.
So I think Vara will bring back a Witch here, but the Witch is a little bit more fragile, and maybe giving these units 1 health isn't as good as just getting a Champion of Cunning to buff your board or a Steward of the Past into play. Champion of Cunning giving your Black Sky Harbinger extra attack could be huge here.
Yeah, it's very meaningful, especially since Black Sky Harbinger can still block the 5/5 units. If his opponent just attacks with 1, but we do have Xenon Initiation here, so at this point TheSkeeJay can knock out the Black Sky Harbinger and get Dawnwalkers just on repeated effect. He can also go for the Carnosaur. He has to kill the Vara this turn, so it's not going to help him too much in this situation, but it'll help him some. Yeah,
it's tough for, TheSkeeJay's trying to find a way to get lethal here, but that Harbinger now having 5 strength means that WhyNot is going to go to 10 health, regardless of what you do here. Your only removal is killer effects. So it's not really a possibility to get lethal here, which means you've got to deal with this Vara, as you said.
Yep, I think Carnosaur is probably the best play for him here. Sandstorm Titan Initiation wastes a Titan, which he'd probably rather not do. He can't really Xenon Initiation the Dawnwalker effectively, and even if he could, that's setting up for a Steward to actually start hurting your board a little bit more than you'd like.
Yeah, so I agree. I think ultimately you'll see the Carnosaur on Var here, and then slam in, force the blocks, and you'll have a Dawnwalker left over. That's not the worst spot to be in.
There's a play where he ignores Vara, Xenon Initiations, and basically just hopes that his opponent doesn't have another Shadow unit. Yeah. It's not the worst thing in the world because it does actually get rid of the Champion or the Black Sky Harbinger, but it's pretty rough, a rough sell, I would say.
Yeah, it's just so risky with your opponent having both a Withering Witch and a Steward of the Past on the board. If that means they do draw a Shadow unit or have a Shadow unit as one of those 2 cards in hand, and they get 2 units, one of which has a really strong effect in play, you're just not winning the game anymore. You've got a good shot of winning from this spot.
Witch Harbinger together off of Avara is just really kind of the game. So from here we see a full-on attack. I'm
not sure about this attack with the Dawnwalker.
The Dawnwalker's tricky because it does allow WhyNot to just block with Harbinger, and that keeps him not alive. He still has to actually defend with his Champion of Cunning, but it means that he's not actually threatened by the double block.
Yeah, so if you hadn't attacked with Dawnwalker, then it would have forced the Harbinger to chump block. This way, the Harbinger gets to eat Dawnwalker. WhyNot survives, and still in a rough spot. Lightning Storm's the draw for turn, so it worked out. But Yeah, now WhyNot goes up to 9. TheSkeeJay draws a torch for turn, and that will be lethal.
Yep, exactly lethal.
That was a tricky match from both sides. You know, the Vara dance is a tough one to navigate. But TheSkeeJay got paid off big for that early Dawnwalker aggression. Normally, it's tough for Dawnwalkers to live that long against Felm, but that one was the Dawnwalker that could, I suppose.
Yep, it can be a very, very strong card in those lists. It's just a matter of whether or not the removal appropriately lines up, which it seems like it does all the time with Felm, but it's actually a bit harder, so you can certainly make it work.
Yeah, the kind of story of that game was the turn 3 decisions, right? TheSkeeJay going with that turn 3 Dawnwalker with a banner in hand. WhyNot on Felm opting to go with the Wisdom of the Elders line rather than, say, using Vara's favor to try and relieve some pressure from that Dawnwalker. And that early batch of damage from Dawnwalker allowing TheSkeeJay to close it out.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to go to game 3, right? We're tied up 1-1.
Yep, got to decide on sideboards if there are any, but looks like they're about ready to start.
Yeah, so we'll see if TheSkeeJay can keep the trend going. Took that first post-board match, one of the unsung heroes of that match. They may have died early on, but those Crimson Fireballs caused some real problems for WhyNot. And we'll see if that's the case again in this next game.
Okay, so we have Temple Scribe, Scorpion Wasp, and Sandstorm Titan here, along with the World Bearer Behemoth as a 5-drop. Okay. So as long as TheSkeeJay keeps drawing power, he's going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, not exactly the most aggressive opener, but it's got a good curve to it. Should be pretty consistent. WhyNot on the other side brought in, looks like, some permafrost. That makes sense. TheSkeeJay has 0 Shatterglass Mage anywhere in his list, so those permafrost will stick. And yeah, TheSkeeJay going to develop his power, finds a 4th power in that time situation.
Yep, it's always a rough card to be running up against Sandstorm Titan, which is sort of exactly the situation that WhyNot finds himself in. But if he finds any other removal for the Titans, he's going to have a pretty good time.
Yeah, and on the other hand, it's a very, very clean answer to something like Crimson Firemaw, Part of the Vault, or World Bearer Behemoth. So, you know, while Permafrost has its drawbacks, I think it is a nice card to bring in here, especially if you expect TheSkeeJay to bring out Praxis Displacer. Could be an answer to Permafrost as well.
Yep, a wide array of interesting answers is definitely in WhyNot's best interest. He finds himself a Withering Witch, which he can use to sort of knock the Sandstorm Titan down, but not having any sort of threats to build the board is really hurting him here.
Yeah, he's behind on board right now, but the good news is TheSkeeJay currently can't get World Bearer Behemoth down next turn, and it's not like Scorpion Wasp is known for applying great pressure either. So TheSkeeJay is hoping to find undepleted power to keep this pressure going while WhyNot is stumbling and fumbling on these strategizes.
Big question here is whether or not WhyNot can find Withering Witch into Lightning Storm or Withering Witch into Harbinger, both of which will help him stabilize tremendously against this board.
Yeah, and TheSkeeJay finds a Seed of Impulse, which will be depleted. So no World Bearer Behemoth this turn. Instead, he'll just be holding up Torches and Scorpion Wasp. Sees a Rhino on top. It's a castable threat, and he'll keep it on top of the deck.
Castable threats are always nice to be playing. World Bearer Behemoth will actually get him the answer he needs, and he's got access to Witch Storm now, which, combined with this Steward of the Past, is pretty devastating for TheSkeeJay's sort of slow approach.
Yeah, and this is where I was nervous about having these Scorpion Wasps. Yeah, they're kind of a clean answer to Champion of Cunning, but I don't know if they're fitting with how you want these games to play out, where you're trying to stay aggressive. And yeah, you'll get to play out a World Bearer Behemoth here, but it's not helping you deal with the Steward of the Past that's in your way. WhyNot's got now Permafrost lined up for TheSkeeJay. Several of TheSkeeJay's next threats, right? Rhino and World Bearer Behemoth are very cleanly answered by this Permafrost, and I think WhyNot has a good shot of turning this around.
Yeah, they're also, like, they have some other rough problems, which is, you know, like, you can play them down and get them annihilated. That can be actually kind of an issue if you're trying to defend against a Champion of Cunning building to critical mass. It's not your most effective way to.
So WhyNot's got a handful of card draw and removal. If I'm a control player and I'm not under too much pressure, I'm happy to have that kind of hand.
Yep, he's considering sitting on the Permafrosts and just going for the Witch Storm, and looks like he's going to pick that up.
See about that. He'll draw first and let that help him decide. And yeah, after seeing the Vera, another storm opts to go with the permafrost, try and not take too much damage here. You're already at 16. Your opponent's on obliterates. You don't want to take more damage than is necessary when you have this much gas in the tank.
Yep, TheSkeeJay tosses a storm, or sorry, WhyNot tosses a storm back. That's one more card that's going to really help him out. Champion of Cunning is great for him, especially if he can find an Aegis for it, but he doesn't really need the Aegis. There's not that many ways for TheSkeeJay to knock the thing out. Well, Obliterate, which is not in his hand.
Yeah, he'll get Aegis anyways, though, so he could play out the Champion of Cunning here. And now the thing you've got to think about is, I don't know, sometimes you think about Predatory Carnosaur and want to hold up Annihilate, but the thing is here, your Champion of Cunning is going to buff itself. It would actually trade with Predatory Carnosaur anyways, and you have a Vara, so you may just see that come out.
Might as well just find the thing that puts the most pressure on TheSkeeJay, since TheSkeeJay's plan is to just try and completely rule the board. WhyNot's just got everything he needs right now. Second Permafrost did a really good trick, and with the Annihilate there, that's yet another thing down.
Yeah, and this is the power of Permafrost. These threats from TheSkeeJay cost 5, and they were answered for 1. That is a huge tempo swing. This is how WhyNot got back into this game. If he had to use something like Death Strike or Feeding Time on these threats, he'd be dead already. Yep. And now instead, he gets to swing with a Champion of Cunning, get to kill another threat, set up this Vara, Witch Storm, all sorts of things here. Really, really nice turnaround from WhyNot.
Yep, he can probably just throw the Lightning Storm at this point. He doesn't really need it unless he wants to absolutely wipe the board. Like, using Withering Witch and then just setting up for a Black Sky Harbinger next turn is usually enough if you're at 15, but he's going to do what he can.
Yeah, opting to toss the Annihilate instead of the Storm wants to have the ability to have just that Witch plus Storm in the same turn kind of play, and we'll use the other Annihilate that they have on this Rhino that's crashing it.
Yeah, it's fairly reasonable. I don't see TheSkeeJay playing 2 units in a turn anytime soon, but might happen eventually.
Yeah, so now WhyNot's got the option to do that Witch Storm we've been alluding to. Could go Vara and get back a Steward as well, but yeah, here comes Lightning Storm plus Witch. That'll clean up this board, and TheSkeeJay, again, being on 7 power means that he hasn't been able to hold up Scorpion Wasp on any of these turns while trying to get threats to counter WhyNot.
Remember, folks, it's Storm Witch, not Witch Storm. That's how you call the Witch Storm. Oh, man.
And so, now TheSkeeJay is in trouble. He's got a Scorpion Wasp, though. He can hang his hat on that.
Yep, it's a pretty sizable setup, and with Black Sky Harbinger to knock the Dawnwalker out, I mean, Scorpion Wasp was actually going to do the thing it's supposed to, which is kill Champion of Cunning. Yeah,
the real issue here might be, is it too little too late, right? The Scorpion Wasp will come down and take out this champion, but the Vara is coming soon. TheSkeeJay is going to need to rip some really nice stuff off the top here.
Basically needs, I don't know, a Carnosaur that he's not willing to play. It's not looking great.
Another Rhino apparently is what the doctor ordered, and we'll see that come down, bring back a Dawnwalker, and now Vara is going to get to bring back Champion of Cunning and start buffing up this board.
Yep, TheSkeeJay doesn't even really have to throw the Permafrost here. He can just sit tight on his 11-5 and his 3-5, and he's got the game.
Interestingly enough, he opts to Permafrost the Dawnwalker. I thought maybe we'd see it on Rhino because it's a better initiation target, but I like throwing out Permafrost either way to deny them a good initiation, right? And there we see WhyNot takes the match, and yeah, that means WhyNot will move to 5-1, very, very much alive for top 8 in this 7-round Swiss tournament. Meanwhile, TheSkeeJay falls down to 4-2. That's a bit tougher to get into the top 8. There will be a few players that make it at X2 maybe, but it's a long shot. So best of luck to TheSkeeJay in the next round if he chooses to play it out. But congrats to WhyNot for a really well played game. Nice turnaround there in that final game.
Very strong play from WhyNot there.
So I don't know if we'll have any backup matches after that pretty nice prolonged match there. Well, we'll get word from our producer on that. But in the meantime, just wanted to do a quick plug for the Eternal Tournament Series Team League. This has been going on Sundays now for the past few weeks. We're currently in Season 2 of that. There's 16 teams playing right now, and they're eventually going to get cut to a top 4 for a single elimination playoff. So you can catch all that action on Sundays. The biggest teams such as Owls and Dragons, Seek Power Gaming, Eternal Titans, Eternal Warcry, a bunch of other newcomer teams as well.
Magical Christmas Band.
Yeah, Magical Christmas Band, of course, Loco. We can't forget about your wonderful team either. Have been slinging some sweet decks in a really cool format. Basically, the way the coverage works is a lot of teams will just broadcast themselves, and they'll basically all be in a booth together, much like we are, discussing their lines of play as they play out the matches. So it's a really different way to watch Eternal get played, get into the minds of some of the best or maybe not so best players, but some of the at least most interesting minds out there. And is a really awesome way to learn more about the game and see how some of the other players think and play. So recommend checking out the coverage where you can. There's more info on really the best place is the tournament chat channel in the Discord, where a lot of players will have where their matches are going on or links to their own streams, because a lot of teams have their own streams for coverage.
A great time, folks. Don't miss it.
Right. And with that, yeah, it looks like we only have one match left in this round, so that'll be coming to a close soon. We're going to take a real quick break, and we'll be back for the final round of Swiss in just a moment.
See you then.